Okay, Fred, Mickey's big hand is on the 12. So if you're showing up late, you're going to lose. You're a loser and you're going to lose. So go ahead, Fred.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, we're ready. All right. Well, we're going to do a quick intro here. Just say that there's a group of us here from Division 8. Barbara, get behind me. Get behind me. Get behind me. Get in the frame here. So there's a small group here from Division 8 saying howdy from St. Louis and the National Train Show. Yay! And with that, I think I'm going to let these guys say a little something and then wander off because I know they're ready to spend some money. So.
Hi. Well, don't tell my wife I'm here because I'll get in trouble.
Bob.
Hi, Kathy.
Hey, great to see everybody. Wish you were here.
There you go. And we have a visitor from West Virginia here, Bob Weinheimer.
Good to see you.
Hey,
There we go.
We're here.
Absolutely. All righty. So I'm going to turn this back to Ron for a couple minutes to do the usual intro stuff, and y'all can go shopping. Thank you very much for showing up and saying hey to the gang back home.
No problem.
All right.
Just a few quick reminders here before we go back to Fred with live coverage. Don't forget today is the last day, even if you're at St. Louis, it's open until midnight to submit your Mow contest entry for the first contest of the new Charlie Keeley model contest year. Mow maintenance away vehicles. Due by midnight tonight. So if you have an entry, get it into us. Fred, if you see Kevin Jones, you better remind him. I haven't seen anything from him.
He's already on way home.
Well, that's probably why he left to go home, is to get his entry ready. And don't forget, nominations for the Silver Spike are open until a week from tomorrow. They opened up last Sunday and they'll be closing a week from tomorrow at midnight. So if you have somebody who you feel deserves a Silver Spike, and you can find the qualifications to receive the Silver Spike on the website, check it out. We'll be sending out a reminder in case you forgot with additional details of where you can find the information. And then don't forget, next Saturday, either in person at the 600 room or online here in Zoom, our general meeting, Saturday, 2:00. The presenter will be, how do you say it, Russell? What's the guy's name? Davin?
yeah,
Oh.
sure, that guy.
Got him on the spot. The guy with the fiber optic lighting.
Yeah, Michael. Sorry.
Bruce DeMare, what's his name? You're muted.
Well, anyways, Michael Groves from Dwarven.
No, Michael Groves. It's Michael Dwarven. Dr. Dwarven.
There you go.
Michael Groves is the actor. Okay. Fred, take it away. Show us around.
Yesterday when we arrived, of course, there was a huge mass of all the people from the convention who were ready to rush in here. And it wasn't quite shoulder to shoulder, but it was full from 10 to about 1 in the afternoon. And then they opened doors to the general public. And then it was almost shoulder to shoulder for a couple hours. And we finally hit it out because a little bit early last night, because I had 2 clinics to give last night, and they were actually pretty well attended. One at 6:30 and one at 8 p.m. last night. Those were the last 2 clinics. So I gave the first clinic on Monday morning, and I gave the last clinic on Friday night. Today is all open to the general public, and it was full this morning. It was full. It's thinning out a little bit now, and I'm actually kind of happy about that, because you may be able to hear me clearly, but it's a little sketchy hearing what you guys are saying coming off the iPhone. But I think it's okay. So let me give you a quick tour here. What we got. around and we're just going to walk. If there's something specific you want to look at or want me to zoom in on, I can do that. I've got a couple vendors, couple people that we're going to specifically spend some time with. Around the outside of the convention center itself, we've pretty much got all the train show vendors that we might have, swap meet kind of stuff. Down this long aisleway here, this is the NMRA table and information booth and so forth on the left. And Jenny from headquarters is actually in there. And then there's more train show, swap meet kind of stuff. I'm not going to go down there all the way right now. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. And again, there's vendors down here, the historical societies, there's the fun booth with food and so forth. Let's wander into the show itself. So normal stuff you'd see at a national train show. We've got all the big manufacturers in here. Woodland Cynics, they're actually doing a how-to, and they will let the kids or whoever come in here and build a little bit of scenery as well. So the next demo is at 1:35. Our time will be off by that point. Over here on the side is a fairly new company. Oh, let me get over here. Class 1 Model Works. Let these guys walk in front of us. Oh, there we go. And they're about to, they've announced, but they haven't released yet, this way cool drop bottom flat car. This is not a sample. This is not a sample. It's a stand-in. They've recently released or announced the GP40. And for you modern guys, container flats. How cool is that? How cool is that? And probably you guys know this guy, Stephen Priest. So
Hi guys,
Stephen,
how are
we're
ya?
talking to, how many people are in the meeting today, Ron?
We got 12.
About a dozen guys back in Louisville, Kentucky.
Hi guys from Louisville, Kentucky. How are you?
We're doing
You're
well.
What I'm going to do is flip this around. The only guy you're going to see is Ron.
Hi Ron.
Oh, wait a minute. There we
There's
go.
Ron.
There we go.
How you doing?
So Steve, tell us about this new venture.
So since I can't sit still in the world of model rarity, we decided we were going to try something new this time, and that is we were going to go into production of model rarity equipment. So we've started a company called Class1Modelworks.com, and we're making freight cars and locomotives pretty much from all eras. I won't say all eras. We probably won't do any 1890s stuff, but probably from 1920s on. So we have 3 products that we're releasing. We're releasing an intermodal car, which is a TWF-10. We're releasing a GP40, an electromotive G40, and then a General Steel Castings depressed center flat car, which was an extremely common car. Almost everywhere in the United States had them. So we've got livery after livery after livery to choose from, and it's really interesting stuff.
Any questions for you guys, Ron?
Yeah, do you have a New York Central one? Do you have a New York Central one?
Yes, we have a New York Central one.
Fred,
You bet. In fact, there's pictures of it on this show here if you want to wait long enough, but it would probably take a half hour to get to it. But yes,
I say,
we will have
Fred,
the New York Central depressed center flat cars. You bet.
okay, Fred, buy it. I'll pay you when you get home.
I didn't hear that.
Can't
Say
hear
that
any of
again,
it.
Russ.
Buy it. Buy
These aren't
it.
available
I'll pay you
yet,
when you
right?
get
They're
home.
coming.
Not yet available. I asked Stephen yesterday, and he said they're coming.
Okay.
Yeah, our anticipated date in them, we don't have an exact date, but it'll be spring or summer of next year.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
You bet.
You bet.
Anything else?
Are they taking orders now, though?
Are you taking orders now?
We are. You can go on to Class1Modelworks.com and look on site, and we have orders for some of our cars. Those cars are not listed yet because we haven't been able to price them yet because the design work hasn't been completed yet. So as soon as that is completed, we will have them posted for pre-sale.
Okay, great. Good
All
luck.
righty. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
Good luck, man. Good seeing you. We'll see ya.
All right, bye guys.
You bet. I think we're going to go over here and find someone work with her laptop, maybe. Maybe. She might be. Hang on here. Mike, where's Mike? Where's Mike? Mike, I'm sorry. He's like, dude, don't I get any screen time?
Oh, I don't know.
This is Mike Brusky, the tree man.
Yeah, I gave a nice clinic on making ponderosa pine trees over at the convention. A lot of you may know me before. I was with Dimensional Modeling Concepts doing 3D printing, but now that's kind of gone the wayside. So we can do this nice Class 1 Model Works .com.
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 That's right. All right. Thanks, man. I'm going to go find someone over here. She was working with her laptop earlier. Hang on. Ask her to turn around. Hang on here. Hang on. All right. Bob Frank around. So I'll bet you guys don't know who this is, but I'll bet most of you get something in your mailbox just about every month from her.
Cynthia.
This is Cynthia Priest, absolutely, editor of the NMRA Magazine. How cool is that? If you were here, you could meet Cynthia face to face.
I'd love to meet you.
Hi, Cynthia.
All right, any questions for Cynthia?
Keep it coming.
Keep them coming, he says.
Okay.
All righty.
will do.
All righty, guys. Will we walk on? Thank you. See how we're doing here. All right, walking down the aisles. Big display here from excuse me, Woodland Cynics. Another big one from Walters back in the back. I'm going to scoot out of here and go down another aisle. Soundtracks, of course, is over here on the side. Nice little booth from them. Bruce and I were talking, doing email back and forth. He has several products from these guys, the Coach Yard. Okay. And another train show guy, another swap meet, pins and so forth. We're going to go down this aisle. If you're ever looking for a backdrop, this is the guy to talk to. Okay. And Bill is actually the chairman of the model contest at the national convention as well. But he's the guy that sells all these backdrops on CDs and so forth. You can buy those, print them out, cut them out, and awesome looking stuff.
What's the name of that outfit, Fred?
Say what?
What's their name? What's the name of the company?
I'm looking. Hang on.
Your computer, page by page, just like this, and they're perfectly aligned. Put across your background and make a beautiful background.
LARC Products.
Some guys will.
There you go.
Page by page. Other people.
Save that.
Take them,
Cool
turn
stuff,
them,
man.
And tape the edges together.
Okay.
I bought one of those and it's a DVD of a 3-ring binder full of pictures.
Yeah, awesome stuff, man.
$25.
Awesome stuff.
It's really
You can
awesome.
see some of it down here.
Thanks, Al.
On top of right now, that's a container wrap. You print it, cut it out. And
There's the
make those
wrap.
Containers out of it by just folding it or gluing it.
Right, we're going to down the aisle here a little bit. And I'm going to take you to this actually almost brand new. And by the way, just so my N-scalers know, there is N-scale here. There's tons of N-scale here. We're doing a Zoom meeting with our guys back in Louisville. Yeah. You guys want to wave, say hi? Hey, there you go. Thanks. Moving along here. So this is an almost brand new company from Berkshire Design. And hey, we told you we'd be coming by here. How long have you guys been in business?
Well, we've had our product for 2 weeks.
So did y'all hear that? 2
Yep.
weeks, for crying out loud.
My molded parts arrived at my house 2 weeks ago. And then I got together with the kids and said to my kids, if you want those cell phones you've been asking for, which we were going to give them anyways, but don't tell them, you got to help Dad package this stuff up. So, yeah. So they did.
Child
They did a good job.
labor's involved.
Child labor laws. That's right. Child
Hey,
labor laws.
family
That's
business.
right. Family business.
Oh, okay,
Family
that's
business
different.
That doesn't apply. That's right. So I want to show you what's going on here. You guys know that I am a track laying, I'm the guy when you come, Russ and I just track laying. And I love to talk about hand laid track and so forth. I want him to show you what's going on with this company. So wait a minute here. Get back there. There we go. So I'm going to focus down here and you can talk. Okay.
All right.
How's that?
So what I've got here is basically a jig / tie plate strip. So what you do is you're going to put a little bit of dab of glue, and I'll mention this stuff. This is the ultimate, Crafters Pick the Ultimate. My wife found it at Hobby Lobby. and they say it's a water-based super glue, and it's wonderful. It takes about 5 minutes, and so as long as you don't sit there and hold your fingers together 5 minutes, you can just wash it off with water, unlike super glue.
Yeah.
So you put a little dab of glue down on each, and you're going to load the ties. So this acts as a jig and your tie plate. So you'll load them up. You'll end up with, these are stained, of course. You end up with a full rack of ties on here. Then you go ahead and take an X-Acto knife, and very carefully, good sharp blade, cut away the screws. And you end up with a flexible tie plate strip like this. For those of you that are familiar with Central Valley, plastic tie plate or tie strips, same kind of idea. So this has little spikes pads molded in, and little, it's got a groove. So then I take that and I glue it down to my road bed. And I use this same glue because it works for metal to plastic as well, to glue the rails to the tie plates. And you end up with a very nice looking track, which I think for me, where did this idea come from? It's like, well, I love the look of hand laid track with the stained wood ties. I don't think you can match it by painting the plastic track. You can do good, but I just love this look. But the problem with traditional hand laid track is it's missing the tie plate detail. So you also get the benefit when you're gluing the rail and the tie plates like this. It's a little faster than spiking by hand.
Little faster. A little easier on my hands too.
Yeah. So that's basically what this is, and it's a brand new product. So I'm out here seeing what people think and hoping people buy some and give it a try, and of course let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're wondering, because I know this question's going to come up, there's the answer. Yeah. Okay. So for that box, $24.99, HO scale mainline tie plate strips, and it'll do about 18 feet of track, and about an inch and a half more. So there you go. Cool product.
Available online, Fred?
Say what?
Available online?
Available to order online. And he has instructions out there as well. I've checked it out. So there it is, BerkshireDesign.net.
Okay, perfect.
And Fred, is he a Berkshire Hathaway company or what?
Is he a Berkshire Hathaway company?
Well, let's see. If I was, this would be my job. I would have all the money in the world. This is not my day job, like a lot of companies here.
And he would be from Omaha and not Florida.
Yes.
Wow. How do we come up with? How do we come up with Berkshire?
How do we come up with Berkshire Designs?
Berkshire type locomotive is my favorite steam locomotive.
Whoa! Did you hear that, Russ?
No, sir, I did not.
Berkshire is his favorite locomotive type.
Okay.
I'm a Père Marquette fan. I grew up in Michigan, so
I'll flip this around so we can kind of see the guys as they're talking.
Yeah. So yeah, I grew up in Michigan, so I got to see the Père Marquette 1225 going around, and my grandfather worked for the C&O just after the merger. Worked for them for 32 years. So.
Okay, what part of?
I mean, what I don't understand is how he can say he worked for them for 32 years. Because I was wondering how he could have teenage children.
No, my grandfather.
Oh, your grandfather. Okay, I was like, wow.
Hey, Fred, what?
Very young.
That's what
Look it up, Mark.
I worked for them for 32 years.
All right.
What part of Michigan?
What part of Michigan?
Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids.
Okay.
Grandfather worked in Wyoming Yard.
Oh, grandfather worked in Wyoming Yard.
Tell him I know that well.
He knows them well.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions here for these guys? Okay, I'm going to show you a couple other things here to stain the ties, and it doesn't have to be these ties. To stain the ties, how about this?
So this is leather dye from Hobby Lobby and rubbing alcohol from the grocery store. I got this because, and this will go a long way, so you could stain an awful lot of ties this way. So I played around with the ratios. This one happens to be 1 part black leather dye to 8 parts IPA. And this gives me a good fresh creosote,
sure.
Basically a new tie. This one is 3 parts of the dark brown, 1 part black, and 32 parts IPA. 32 is because this is a 32 ounce bottle. Sure. There's nothing, you can be a little off. It doesn't have to be exact. This gives me a good kind of nice good shape tie that's been not brand new.
Sure.
And then basically by diluting the black further, this is 1 part black and 32 parts IPA, you kind of get a tie that looks like it's about ready to get replaced. And I just kind of use a blend of those depending on, if it's a mainline track, it's going to have more of the fresh and the good ones. If
Sure.
it's an old siding, it's going to have a lot more of the ones that look like they need to be replaced, and you get a nice look. And it's like, these are what we're, I think
It's Hobby
$7
Lobby. It couldn't have been that much.
$7
Yeah,
a buy.
absolutely.
This is like $2-3 at Walmart. And it goes a long way.
Yeah. And because the business is doing so well, having been, in business for 2 weeks, they've actually expanded. And now look at this. Look at this, what they're doing, huh? We're doing 3D printing. This is pretty cool.
This is something I've been working mainly for me for a while, but people said, hey, you should sell those. And my wife's like, hey, you can pay for the 3D printer that way.
That way.
So,
we'll see how that goes.
yeah. Well, this is a Pierre Marquette auto furniture box car.
Yep.
It was purchased by them in 1930, and they would last till say the 1960s and kind of start petering away from there. But there's nobody's made a kit for this one. It's got an end that's a little unique. But yeah, so and I've included in the kit everything you need.
Yeah.
Except for the paint and glue.
Yep. But it even includes KD158s.
Yep.
Yay.
Yep. And decals.
And decals. All righty. I think we're going to wander on. Thank you very much for your time. Absolutely. All right, Guy. Ralph's Trains. Ron is talking to those guys. Hey, Dwarven. Y'all know Dwarven. They're going to be doing our meeting here coming up very soon, aren't they? Absolutely. And moving around the corner, we all know the Spring Creek guys. Absolutely. Come back in here real quick. Talk to the Spring Creek guys real quick. It's our Louisville, Kentucky meeting. You guys have been there before. You're live to Louisville. Hey, there you go. You guys remember them? Absolutely. Let me flip it around here real quick. Now, there's more than just Russ there. Trust me.
Right.
Okay, there is more than just Russ there. But yeah.
How are you guys all doing?
Ron, are you there?
Nope.
They're being quiet for a change. I can't believe it. They're normally never this quiet, but that's okay. Well,
Tour of the whole show.
we are real quick, about 15, 20 minutes, stopping at a couple dealers, stopping a couple. I can't get everybody.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah, we'll be here for hours and hours and hours. But when did you guys come down?
We got here Wednesday night.
Wednesday night. Yeah.
We did a taping with What's Neat this week.
Sure.
And then set up on Thursday.
Yeah. Yep. We saw you in K10
Yeah.
doing some personal shopping
Yeah,
at the hobby shop down here.
Personal shopping. So got a couple things to take home. So
Yeah.
that was fun.
Cool. All righty. And a big booth.
Yeah.
Big booth. Brought out
All
the
big
people.
trailers.
Yeah. All righty. We're going to wander on, but
All
thank
right.
you.
Yeah,
You guys
thanks
have a
for
great
stopping.
show. You bet. Let's see, flip this around again. We're going to go down the aisle. Yeah. Take a look at how big the booth here is, huh? It's freaking huge. And DigiKeys is here, of course. Micromark. Micromark doesn't have a lot of tools. They have some for sale here, but not a lot. Not the whole catalog, of course. Railsmith has some really exquisite N-scale stuff. Especially if you're interested in passenger cars, just do a quick look here. Just a real quick look. So might be something you guys are interested in. And of course, it's at, get it in there, get it in focus, kind of, sort of, maybe, railsmith.net. So you might want to take a look at that. All my N-scale guys. All right, flip around here. Where are we going? Scale Trains, of course. I don't, oh, there's Shane back there. So Scale Trains, I think Shane, for once, is not totally occupied with stuff. Shane, how you doing today? It's the Louisville group.
Howdy, Louisville.
I'm going to flip it around here for a minute, so you can actually see one or two of them.
Howdy, everybody. How's
We're
it going?
doing a Zoom call from our Louisville, Kentucky Division 8 meeting today, telling everybody, I see what you didn't get to see.
We sure appreciate you guys having us last fall. We had a great time down there in Louisville.
You bet, man. We enjoyed having you. Love to see you come again. I know it's a busy schedule.
We'll be back.
I know.
I want to come back and see the railroad.
Railroads.
That's
right. We got a ton of mountain railroads down there.
So we'll be back. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Anything you want to tell these guys special about what we've got going on? What you recently releasing?
Sure. So
We announced the rivet counter HOAC 4400 yesterday, and doing 6 road games in the first run. We're doing CSX in the YN2, and if you're a more modern modeler, we're doing the YN3 with the website, the yn3.com scheme. And then, of course, we're doing SP and UP and BNSFH2 and Barrel Surf. You want something a little unique. And Canadian Pacific, including the carousel logo, we're doing that particular vehicle. And then if you're a steam era fan, I see a steam locomotive in the background.
That's right.
The shot.
Mr. Russ, I'm going to flip this around. Hang on a minute, guys. And I'm going to come around. Whoop. Let me come around the table real quick. All right.
So our very first steam era releases, these are XMTH items, and we're putting them in our Kit Classics line. The first one's going to be a 4-bay hopper, includes a load, and selling price of just $21.99 with a load. And
Okay,
then
wait a minute. How much?
$21.99.
$21.99 with a load.
And then 4 more cars to in the next few months. We got the caboose, PS1 hopper, the reefer, and the gondola, and they all should sell for right around $20. So a budget price point, easy to build kits. And then if you're an N-scaler, we announced SD70 Aces. These are from Fox Valley.
Yep.
And first time with DCC and sound. And also we're doing all the painted and factory applied detail parts.
How
And
cool
then
is
also, if you're S-scale, we're showing our first S-scale samples. And the fish belly hopper will probably be the first, followed by the boxcar and then the caboose. We'll do them both ways. In the box, you get the toy train coupler. I'm sorry, that'll be on the model. And then if you're a scale person, we'll include the scale wheels and the scale couplers too. So, and then we announced more F68 flat car or bulkhead flats.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of new things going on. And
Sure.
so appreciate you guys making time to come and see us today.
You bet, man. Thank you for spending a couple minutes with us.
Hey, happy to.
Anybody have any specific questions for Shane?
Sounds quiet.
It sounds quiet, but that's a good thing. That's a good. They're probably going, how much was that again? All right, man. Thank you.
Hey, it's great to see you.
You
Thanks
bet.
for coming by.
You bet. See ya. Hang on. All right, hang on a minute. Barbara wants to take control for a minute. So Barbara's running the camera for a minute.
I'm just going to show you the flashy lights. It's blinding. Lots of lights.
Is this West Coast circuits? East Coast
Well-
circuits?
I don't, yes, I had to look at the sign. Excuse me. I'm going to turn you back over to Fred.
All right, guys, we're going to run down the hallway here, literally run down the hallway and go take a quick look at a couple of layouts that are here. When I first walked in here, I was like, really? That's the only layouts? Well, what I didn't know is the convention center goes around and around and around. So we're not going to see all the layouts that are here, but I'm just going to show you a couple. Syntrack is here along with another group doing T-Track. Whoop, watch out. And I know I'm walking quite kind of fast, but I wanted you to show you. And then over here, we have another model railroad, another modular layout. And here you go. This is Missouri Valley. And I'm going to kind of do this number so you can get an overall kind of look at what's going on in here. So again, you know, we would need a couple hours to do everything that's in the train show here, obviously. Can't do that. So we're just kind of trying to show you a few things that are going on in here. Excuse me. Ron, do you guys have anything specific you want to look at?
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
Sorry.
You know the good stuff. Show us around.
Say what?
You know the good stuff. Show us around.
Well, I'm going to take you over to a couple modules over here that are kind of interesting. This is the Gateway N-Track group, and they are, tell you what, they are into animation like you would not believe. And they've got some really cool modules going on over here. This is an aero park and lots of lights and so forth. This is the Walking Dead module. So they've got this thing going on here, this walkway here in the front, and they've got the stuff going on in the background with the with the prison escape and all sorts of stuff over here. And then somebody must have been talking to Joe Martin. The tornado warning is going off. The tornado is going downtown. We've got flashy lights going on all over the place. A real crowd, please. And I'm walking in front of people. Thank you. We're doing a live broadcast to Louisville, Kentucky.
That's Joe Martin on steroids.
And then if that was too stressful for you, you can chill out here on the beach for a while. Let me get around these guys real quick. Kind of walk around here. And we've got industrial stuff going on and some traffic jams going on and so forth. And then my grandsons absolutely, they're not with us, but they absolutely love this module. It is the Jurassic Park module. What do you think about, now this is live, back to my guys in Louisville, Kentucky. What do you think about the Jurassic Park module?
It's cool.
It is cool. What do you think about the Jurassic Park module?
I hope to build it.
You hope to build it. All right, model railroaders on the way. All right. So look at the animation we got going on here. We got this helicopter spinning around. We've got the Jeep moving on there. I think you guys can see it moving. And if you wait long enough, you'll actually see the dinosaur moving around in the pen as well.
Oh man, you can't get better than that.
You can't get better than that. Absolutely. And then I'm going to jump over this module. You guys stay right where you are. Stay right where you are. That's cool. And at first I was like, this is kind of boring. And then I went, wait a minute, there's something moving. And this car ferry moves from this dock across this little strip of land. This is called the Great River Module. And when it gets to the other side, it'll dock and then the little lights will light up and flash and so forth. The one thing that's missing is the cars running off the end onto the roadway. Oh, well, you know, you can only get so much of the model anyway.
No moving cars?
The cars do not move. Sorry, that's it. But I thought that was pretty darn cool. So I thought you guys would like to see that. What do you guys think about all this stuff? This is back to Louisville, Kentucky. Pretty cool? Neat? All right. Thank you. All right. There is Z-Scale back here and Z-Scale and Wisconsin, Michigan Model Railroad Club way back in the back. All right. I'm going to run across here again. Stay with me. Stay with me. O-Scale 2 rail guys. Go down the hallway here. There's more back there. Coming over this way. Mississippi Valley N-Scalers. I mistake one of them for a Division 8 guy because they got these yellow shirts. Hey, how you doing? But this is a fun little layout in here too, the Mississippi Valley N-Scalers. And I think any of you should be able to realize that this is another T-Crack group. And wow, lots of younglings in here. Bruce Mayer is probably going, yes, that's the way it's supposed to be. And you know what I like about this layout? It's at kid height. I love it. All right, I'm going out. Oh, and look.
All right.
Yeah, cool. All right. We're going to go down the hallway again.
Daddy.
Okay, watch out, guys. Excuse me. Thank you. All right. The Lego guys are in there. Whoa, the Lego guys are in there. And across the way, y'all know what dead rail is, right? I love this little layout in here. We're going to talk about this when I get back. And there's way too much going on in here for me to really talk to you guys about it. This is not Thomas. This is not Brio. This is something this guy crafted all on his own. And it's actually called W-Track. And I'm trying to find the logo on here, and it's on here somewhere, but I'm not seeing it. Oh, there it is. There's a W-Track. It's not right. Hang on. There you go. So it's
okay.
Yep. So wood track.
Cool.
We'll talk about it when I get back to Louisville. All right. Except for a couple of layouts that we haven't hit yet. That's pretty much the show. And I know I've been going for about 30 minutes here. So I think it's probably time for me to shut this down and let you guys move on with the rest of the program, unless there are any specific questions for me.
Anybody have any questions for Fred before we say goodbye? And thank you, Fred.
You bet.
Fred, you might go back there and check where the arch is and look at the Star Wars layout that's back there. It's right
That
next to,
Star Wars, yeah, the Star Wars layout is the same one that was at Indy Junction 2022. So I figured everybody probably seen it by now.
thank
But yeah,
you,
it's back around the corner.
thank
Hey,
you.
how many layouts were there, Fred?
Let me count real quick, Mark. 1, 2. Well,
Just
you know, it's hard to count the
estimate,
retail ones
estimate.
because there's like 4 in a suitcase, you know. But let's say larger layouts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'd say there were a dozen. But again, it depends on how you cut it, you know. For example,
Estimate, that's fine. Thank you.
for example, you know, it's a layout, but it's so small, you know, it's a tabletop and just a tabletop. So yeah, probably a dozen, maybe a little more than that.
All right. Okay, Fred.
All right.
Thank you. Travel safe tomorrow. I know you.
All right.
I know you're going to get a nice.
Soon.
I know you're going to
Bye.
get a
We're
nice
gonna sign
early
off.
start.
Bye.
Bye. Okay,
Ooh.
I'm worn out.
I'm
Okay, Bruce.
exhausted.
What's that, Bruce?
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, me too.
It's been a while since we've had Bruce talk to us. You know, we've enjoyed many of his presentations. So today, he's going to talk to us about track cleaning. And I think we all know that there's a bunch of different ways to clean your track, whether it's with the old Bright Boy or a track cleaning car. So we're gonna see what Bruce's ideas are. So please help me welcome back Bruce, and I'll let you take it from here.
Part of this came from, you know, history, good electrical contact on rails, things like that. And then when I got more into how accurate is the railroad look and scenery and stuff, it became even more important because a well-used track has a nice, clean, shiny top to it. So I got to work over the years on several ways to keep my rails clean. And the benefit of doing some of the things like that to keep the rails clean, of course, we know we need good electrical continuity and connectivity between the electrical current that flows through the rails and the onboard electrical equipment in our railroad models that need it. Going back to the days of brass track, we remember when it corroded, it pretty much blocked all electrical contact between anything that needed the electricity from the rails. And we spent a lot of time with our abrasive erasers and stuff like that, trying to keep it clean. And then along came nickel silver, which I'm not a true chemist, but I understand a little bit that the chemistry is that when nickel silver corrodes, that corrosion itself is actually still a conductor. Now, it may not be as good as a pure clean surface, but things will still work on nickel silver track, even though it might have corroded a little bit. Whatever this new DCC stuff is, and that's still kind of foreign to me. I'm an old DC guy. You got to have a way to talk to your electrical control systems in there. So clean track facilitates that, along with clean wheels. Those of you that have signal systems, we need to know if a block is occupied, and the current that flows through the detector and through the rails will give our signal systems the basis for that. I have a couple unused sections of track, and I've let them weather and dirty up a bit just to reflect that the fact that they're not used. But generally, if we have used sections of track, it looks good to have a clean, silvery top to them. And if we all put our heads to it, I'm sure we can think of other reasons we want to have clean track too. So a bunch of years ago, this is probably 10, 15 years ago, I was out in San Diego, and when I'm out there, I always make a stop at the museum in Balboa Park. And I got in a conversation with the guy there about what they do to keep their track clean. And this guy happened to be running a freight train from the Mojave Freight Yard up towards Tehachapi, and I just walked with him around the railroad and discussed this. He came to a siding where he had to take the siding for a train going the other way. So he stopped his train and he pulled one car off and showed it to me. And underneath, he had a homemade piece of masonite suspended below the car, and it slides along the top of the rails. And it does a good job of just keeping dust off the rails and minor grime accumulations that are there. And after talking with him at length about it, somewhere either online or in a hobby shop someplace, I saw you can buy those things. And I got a kind of a feel, I might have seen it, Woodland Scenics even makes something like that these days, although I'm not sure about that. But after seeing the one they used out there, I said, this is pretty simple. I can make it myself. And I had scrap masonite laying around. It was 1/8 inch thick. And I cut it up. I measured first for the size I would need to sit on top of the rails, and then decided how to mount it. And watching the guy in San Diego, he had it mounted under a refrigerator car. Thinking about, and I'm going to show you in a minute how it's mounted, it has to be pretty much an enclosed car. A flat car or a hopper or a gondola just won't work. And even a covered hopper, generally because they have the discharge chutes very low to the track, they won't work for a project like this. So every one I have is either under a box car or a refrigerator car. And there's the dimensions I use. It's about 2.5 long and somewhere close to 1 inch wide. And that can vary. You can make them longer, shorter, whatever you want. The width is kind of critical though. So if you're on a curve, you don't want it to drop between the rails, especially on the outside radius of the curve. So that's the dimension I use. There's a photograph of a couple of them while I'm building them. Kind of sand around the edges of the masonite, eliminate any rough spots that may have been put in it there by sawing it out of the big piece you start with. And I call it ease the ends there. You want a kind of a curved surface as the slider moves along the rails. You don't want it to be able to pick and grab on a frog or anything else that might be there. So that's rounded just a little bit on the ends. Finishing nails is how it's mounted to the freight car that's going to carry it. You drill up through the bottom and insert the finishing nails. Make it a tight fit so they don't tend to wobble and fall out. And the other important thing is you need to kind of countersink the head just a little bit so it doesn't snag on any part of the track work either, especially things like crossings and frogs and stuff like that. To aid in holding the piece of masonite close or tight to the rails, I just put a little piece of lead weight on top of it. You could use most anything. Even a couple pennies would work, cheap weights if you use them that way. Once you've got that all done, I paint them black. Any dark color probably would work to make them less visible as you see the cars and the trains running around the railroad. It's kind of important to clean, if you spray painted it, clean the paint off the nails because they need a smooth surface, and I'm going to show you how they're mounted to the car. There really shouldn't be any friction between them. And then you choose the car you want it mounted to and figure what your dimension, the distance between the nails is, figure that out exactly, and drill a couple holes into the bottom of the car exactly at that dimension, and make the holes just a hair larger than the nail itself, just so it won't have any binding, it won't have any friction, and it'll be free to float up and down as the rail cover, the rail terrain and the features change. So on the left, there's the holes drilled, ready to drop the little slider in, and on the right, one that's been in use for a while. You can see it's just attached under the car, floats freely. If you have the car sitting on the rails and you just happen to pick it up, the slider should probably drop right out the bottom. It shouldn't be binding or tight in any way. And I have, a lot of you guys may know I'm a Santa Fe modeler. I have some work equipment box cars, which were generally box cars that Santa Fe took out of revenue service and converted them into work service. And they served all kinds of functions: bridge gangs, track gangs, electrical, signal, anything else that needed storage capacity. A lot of these box cars ended up their, after revenue life, ended up their life in this service. So I've got a bunch of these I've made. And you can see underneath there, I've got one of the sliders installed. And on a typical day, if I've got a train running out there, most likely I've got one or more work equipment box cars trailing along in the train, just going from A to B, wherever those places might be. I had occasion recently, a friend of mine asked me to make a couple of them, so I did. He gave me the cars they were going to be made from. They're newer than you would see on my railroad. My railroad is back in 1967. In the desert Southwest, but I said, sure, I can make a couple of these for you. And the first short video here, they're about 10 seconds long, is the car without the car bodies on it, but you can see the slider under the car and you can see the nails protruding up through the floor and the base of the car. And they're going to go by from left to right here, and there's two cars that are right behind the locomotives. So here we go with this. And you can see the cars and you can clearly see the nails sticking up and the slider below it. All right, then you put the bodies on the cars and you don't see the nails anymore. And depending on how you've treated or concealed the little track sliders underneath, you may or may not even see them. But here's another 5 seconds or so worth of cars going by, and I dropped the lens here a bit and you can see the slider too. And just doing that on a regular basis, I have, like I said, usually one in every train, pretty much keeps the surface of the rails clean. There are other situations, of course, when grime can build up and it takes a little more effort to get rid of it. And to deal with that, I made a track cleaning car. I know there are multiple options available, even in different scales, to have track cleaning cars. Some of them use fluids, some of them rub, some have a paper, not a paper, but a fabric roller that cleans the stuff off the rails. I don't know if I ever saw anything like this, but I put all my brain cells to work and came up with this as an idea how to make a functioning track cleaning car. And here's what it consists of. I started with a model airplane metal fuel tank. I know they're available locally at Scale Reproductions, and probably any other hobby shop that deals in model airplanes probably has them for you. I don't have any fish or fish tanks, but I thought about it. My new fish tanks had air valves on them, so I went to a supply store that dealt in fish tank and supplies, bought a little air valve. Something's happening here. Some rubber tubing to connect the tank through the valve, and then a piece of brass tubing, and I think it was 1/8 inch diameter, and I cut it at about 120-degree angle, or 60 degrees on each piece actually, soldered it back together so that when I mount it in the track cleaning car, gravity, as you'll see, gravity allows the fluid to come out. The air valve regulates the amount of fluid that goes through it, and the brass tube at the end extends down through the bottom of the car I've got it on to another kind of a slider I made. And this is made just from scrap brass pieces too. The two vertical posts act similarly to the piece of masonite slider that I made for the day-to-day use. They extend up through the bottom of the gondola I've got this made in. Hard to see, but in the very center of the car is a hole that goes through the sheet brass base that the tube from the tank connects to. The square tubing on the end receives just a piece of spring wire. I bent it about 180-degree angle, and I used corduroy, just scrap corduroy for the material to run on the rails. The little bent pieces of spring wire inserted through here, you fold the fabric over the top of it, and it holds it in place. And there's a photograph of the whole thing kind of put together. This was an old AccuRail gondola I decided to take out of service. Made a little stand out of styrene, tank, hose, valve. You can't see the tubing, but it goes straight out the bottom of the car. There's the slider with the fabric wrapped around it. And I set it up initially. I used straight, what's the word? I lost the word all of a sudden. Mineral spirits, that's the word I want. Straight old mineral spirits to use to clean it. And I had read somewhere along the way that it's a good technique. Some people use wall clipper oil. I heard just about gun oil. And there's a company called Choppy, and if you got any guns, you'd probably have gun oil around the house. Otherwise, you can go get some at a gun shop. Put mineral spirits in the tank, put maybe 2-3 drops of gun oil in it, shake it up a little bit, install it in the car, and adjust the drip rate. First, I pre-moisten the fabric on the bottom. I get it soaked pretty well. But then over an old little container, I adjust the drip rate to somewhere around 6 to 8 drops a minute. And that's enough, I've found, to keep the slider with the fabric on it on the bottom, keep it moist for as long as you're running the car or until you run out of fluid. There's the photograph of the car in use. I've got a bigger blow up of the same thing, but you can see how the tank is set there. Gravity feeds through the hose and the valve down to the slider on the bottom. This particular photograph, I'm running it around the main line. Got 3 locomotives to pull it. Something else I did, and I don't know if it really helps or not, but my brain said it was good. I ACC'd the plastic wheels in these trucks so that they don't turn. So I get friction from the wheels on the car sliding on the rail also, which may help loosen anything that's stuck there. And after I run it around a couple times, I put it on a different track, run it through the yard, anywhere I want to clean the track. And this is what it kind of looks like. The one on the right, I had it mounted crooked, and I realized it after it had run about 10 feet. So I took it off and straightened it up, or actually put another one on. The one on the left is after about 2 laps around the main line on the railroad, showing you how much of the grime it picks up off the top of the rails. Again, for good electrical connectivity or conductivity and appearance too. Getting all kinds of memos up there. All right, other situations. Those of you that have seen or know about my railroad, it was designed and it's set up for continuous operation on a main line, primarily for long freight trains. I do have a classification yard that'll hold about 250 freight cars. In a typical session, when I'm running the railroad is I'll have 1 or 2 freight trains out on the railroad, on the main lines, continuously running. And I'll work the classification yard, either breaking up or making up another freight train just while watching or having the other ones run around on the outside. So I made up an example here. Let's say I've got a 55 car freight train and I've got 4 F units pulling it. Just counting the wheels on one side of the train, that's 55 cars, 4 locomotives, 59 axles, or 59 cars and 4 axles per car and locomotive. As that train goes around, 236 wheel hits on any particular part of the railroad for each lap at any one spot. And if I'm busy, I might let it run around about 10 times or so. So that's well over 2,000 rail hits at any one spot on the railroad as that train goes around. Switch frogs especially, I've noticed, either from the wheel as it crosses the gap in the frog between the point and the wing rails, or in the frog, in the base of the frog itself, grime accumulates. So just for a day-to-day routine, I may be walking around and I'll take a look at the frogs and see what they look like. If I find stuff on top of the rail, just thumbnail and just kind of scrapes it right off and have a little tissue handy there and just wipe it off in the tissue. Keeps the tops clean. For the areas down in the frog, just sliding a screwdriver or a toothpick through it will dislodge any built-up grime. And I have found the sharper the turnout, the more likely it is to build up grime there. I've got only a couple number 4s. The yard is exclusively number 6s and 8s, and the main line is all number 8s. So on those couple number 4s, I feel I'm realizing I'm cleaning those a lot more often than I am the big ones on the main line. And the last resort, if I just have trouble getting anything off, or I want to, say I painted a new section of track and I need to get the paint off the top, there's the good old abrasive eraser. Its name depicts what it does. It's abrasive. It leaves little micro scratches in the rail, and we all know what micro scratches will attract. That same old grime or kind of clean off the track. That's my last resort. And of course, any model that has wheels that you're depending on electrical connectivity up through the wheels, like a lighted passenger car, a caboose that's got marker lamps on it, and of course, all the locomotives themselves with their need for electricity for the motors and onboard DCC control systems. Make sure you keep your wheels clean too. So there you have it. Anybody have any questions?
Bruce McKeown, thank you for your presentation.
Yeah, thanks, Bruce. Always a pleasure. We appreciate your time today.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. It's good to talk to other railroaders.
Thanks for joining us today, and we'll hope to see many of you next Saturday at the meeting.
Thanks, everybody.
Good afternoon.